but there's look again. Now that I've done it, I can look back and go, okay, I did this well, I did this well, and I'm doing stuff that no one's thinking about, aka giant unicorns with part rainbows and giant cupcakes. But you know what? I have to also look at the fact too that yeah, I want you to laugh, but I also kind of want you to feel because if you're invested in the characters in there, you'll come back.
Yeah.
And so the next book I'm doing isn't Cloud Diver 2, it's something else. It's basically taking what I've learned from Cloud Diver and applying it into something that's another series I can jump into and and work on forever and ever and ever. But it's also just because I'm once I figure that one out in terms of like how much better I get, then I go back to Cloud Diver and go, okay, I think I can tell this story better now. Let's see if I really know what the heck I'm doing or if I'm
I enjoyed the Cloud Diver.
yeah.
Um, I would think you would actually have to write a fair amount before you could go back and improve it because
Yeah.
it's already freaking good.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, thank
So
you. Well, there are some little things I look at, just some little techniques. I'm like my next book is one called Corey. It's Parallel Universe Dragon Slaying. I took the Knights of the Round and I corrupted them. I made them like they're my version of the crime syndicate of the Justice League, right? I've twisted them all, and my main character is someone that used to work for them and is now it's Parker meets Quantum Leap. I'm having a lot of fun with this, but about like there are just little things I've done that have just I think have made the story better without. So we'll see. Like we'll see when it comes out. Like if I know what I'm doing or if I do you ever really know what you're doing this? I should ask.
so it's a balancing act between plotting and pantsing. Is like I say, when I start a story, I know the main character, I know how it begins, and I usually don't change the beginning. Sometimes I have to move it, but I usually don't change it. Um, and I usually know how it ends, but everything else that happens, I pretty much uh, make it up as the story progresses. Because again, I like characters who behave realistically. I want them to react to events the way they really would, not ways that just kind of fit the plot.
Yeah, I
And
know. Yeah,
so I do have to. I don't know too much about the plot points along the way because I don't really know the character well enough to plan that much. And as the story progresses, I go, okay, I'm going to throw this at my character. How are they going to respond? And they decide where they go next.
So for me, so here's something I've learned. This is the one thing I have learned. You can actually make the character react any way they want to. The trick of the matter is, what I find is it has to be believable into the world they're into, right? You can make someone buy anything, but the trick is, right? Is it plausible within the world you've created, right? Is it believable? If it's not, I mean, you like I said, I wrote a story with unicorns apart, rainbows, and robots, and all that other wonderful fun stuff, right? His reactions are completely in line with the world. But I think one of my early editors said, you know what? I completely bought Dragon Flu. I bought it. I didn't even question it, and it was like perfect, right? It's the stuff. It's the, I'm credibility is very important. That's the one thing I've actually learned about your stories. You've got to be honest with your reader, and not have the convenient plot device that makes no or do said machina like that you get like one of those and that's it the entire series.
Well, for me, my biggest problem reading other people's material is character motivation. When they do something that's like, oh no, that character would do that. That's what bothers me the most is they have to do what they would do, and if they do something different, I stop reading and go, why would they do that? I mean, this makes no sense. Um, the author has painted the character this way, and now they're doing something they wouldn't do. And I see that over and over again. And when I'm actually reading someone else's work, that's the number one thing I look for.
Oh, okay.
As I go, well, no, this character wouldn't do that. This character is totally ethical, right? You want to force that character to do something unethical. That's what you want to do. You want them to do something unethical. And when you do it, the reader has to believe it.
Yes.
That, okay, here's my ethical character. Here's this ethical guy doing something unethical. But yes, I believe he would actually do that.
Yeah.
It's when they just come along and, here's some money, I'm going to take it, and you don't believe they do it. That's the problem. That's a problem for me to read. And you see more and more of it on film, movies and television.
Yeah.
It's harder to get away with that in a written story, and I call authors on it every time when I see it.
Well, actually, I think it's getting harder to do not. See, I figured I just did my article for the anime network. I wrote my article on it, and one of the things I recognize North American in terms of television especially, movies is a different weird problem, but television in particular, it's usually because television in North America does not have a designed Act 3, right? So what tends to happen in like the reason like Game of Thrones was such a piss off at the very end of the series, right? It was.
I haven't seen the last season, so no spoilers, please.
I'm not gonna. Okay. We'll just focus on believability of characters, and I'm not going to spoil a damn thing. You will be mad, and you won't be mad at what happens. You're going to be mad they went that way based on what they gave you prior to it. Because when they started this series, Martin hadn't finished it, and when they were getting to the end of the series, Martin hadn't finished it. So they didn't. I mean, they had some idea what Act 3 was probably going to be like. They probably were like, "Hey, George, we need to wrap this up. Can you give us some ideas where you're going with this so we can wrap this up?" But the fact is, so you look at that, or another one, How I Met Your Mother. That show would have been a great 3 or 4 season show. It had that much material that was really strong. They stretched it out because it was a really big hit that people didn't expect. And you could tell by the time they got to season 6, they were like, I don't know what else to say at this point in time. Right when they just should have gone into Act 3. And that's a big problem with television and even like comic books here in North America is there's no set Act 3 in most things. And because there's not, what tends to happen is you lose your character's credibility somewhere because normally there's an evolution point or a conflict resolution somewhere in the story, and now you don't have it because you're trying to keep it going and going and going and going, right? And authors fall into this trap, I think, in books because our entertainment falls into this trap all the time.
Well, I think in most series it's because the publisher has told the author what they want.
That too. Oh no, that's absolutely too.
The author goes, I'm writing a trilogy here, and the publisher says, no, we need a book 4, 5, and 6. And the author's going, well, that's not what I've set up.
That's awkward.